Welcome to Blueprint Viral News. Today, we're diving into the latest national and regional seat projections and vote projections for the 2025 Canadian federal election based on 338 Canada's latest polling analysis. With Election Day getting closer, the numbers are shifting and political parties are gearing up for intense battles in key regions. Will the Liberals secure a strong majority? Can the Conservatives regain lost ground? And what role will the Bloc Québécois, the NDP, and the Greens play in shaping the next government? Let's break it all down, starting with the national outlook. National seat projection. As of March 29th, the political landscape in Canada is leaning heavily in favor of the Liberal Party of Canada, or LPC. The latest projections place them at 190 seats, which is well beyond the majority threshold of 172 seats. Their estimated range spans from 165 to 219 seats, meaning that while a majority is within reach, there is still room for uncertainty. On the other hand, the Conservative Party of Canada, or CPC, is projected to win 125 seats, with a range between 100 and 149. This marks a downward trend from previous projections, suggesting that the party may be struggling to expand beyond its core support base. The Bloc Québécois is expected to secure 21 seats, down from earlier projections, with a range between 11 and 28. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party, or NDP, is showing small but notable gains, projected at 6 seats with a wider range of 0 to 13, meaning their final outcome will depend heavily on key ridings. The Green Party is projected to hold 1 seat with a range between 0 and 2, keeping them on the margins of Canadian politics. Regional breakdown: Atlantic Canada, 32 federal districts. The Liberals continue to dominate in Atlantic Canada, securing a projected 29 seats with a range between 25 and 32. Their stronghold in the region remains largely intact, with the Conservatives trailing far behind at just 3 seats, though they could win up to 7 if they perform well in key ridings. The NDP and Greens are not projected to win any seats in this region. Quebec, 78 federal districts. Quebec remains a battleground, but the Liberals are holding a commanding lead with 43 seats, within a possible range of 37 to 53. This is a positive shift for the party, showing a resurgence in voter support. The Bloc Québécois, traditionally a dominant force in the province, has been projected to win 21 seats, with a chance to gain up to 28. But they could also fall as low as 11 if their support erodes further. The Conservatives are making small gains in Quebec, currently projected at 13 seats, with a potential range of 10 to 15. Meanwhile, the NDP is barely holding on with just 1 seat, showing a sharp decline from previous election cycles. Ontario, 122 federal districts. Ontario, the largest province and a key battleground, is shaping up to be a major win for the Liberals, who are projected to take 81 seats, with a range between 70 and 92. Their strong support in the Greater Toronto Area is proving crucial in securing these numbers. The Conservatives remain competitive in the province with 39 seats, but their range of 29 to 49 suggests that their final count will depend on voter turnout and shifts in suburban ridings. The NDP is struggling in Ontario, projected to win just 1 seat, though they could gain up to 4 in an optimistic scenario. Meanwhile, the Green Party is in contention for 1 seat, with a chance of winning up to 2 if they perform well in select districts. The Prairies, 28 federal districts. The Prairies remain a stronghold for the Conservatives, who are leading with 18 seats, though their range of 17 to 21 suggests that they might lose some ground. The Liberals, however, are making notable inroads, projected at 8 seats with a potential high of 10. The NDP is showing some resilience, with projections giving them 2 seats though they could win up to 3 if they managed to capture enough progressive votes. Alberta, 37 of federal districts. As expected, Alberta remains a conservative fortress, with the CPC projected to win 32 seats. However, their possible range of 25 to 36 suggests some room for competition. The Liberals are projected to gain 4 seats, though their range of 0 to 10 means their success will depend on whether they can convert potential support into actual votes. The NDP, meanwhile, is expected to win 1 seat, with an outside chance of securing a second. British Columbia, 43 federal districts. British Columbia is proving to be a competitive province, with the Conservatives leading at 22 seats, though their range of 16 to 28 suggests that this race is still fluid. The Liberals are right behind with 20 seats, with a range of 14 to 25. The NDP is struggling here as well, projected to secure just 1 seat, though they could reach 3 in an optimistic scenario. The Greens are in contention for 1 seat, but they may not win any at all. Territories, 3 federal districts. The 3 territories, Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, are expected to remain Liberal strongholds, with the party projected to win all 3 seats, though they could drop to 1 in a worst-case scenario. The NDP and Conservatives are each in contention for a potential seat, but projections indicate a tough road ahead for them. National vote projection. At the national level, the Liberal Party of Canada, LPC, continues to lead with 42% of the vote, but with a margin of error of 5%, their actual support could be anywhere between 37% and 47%. The Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, is trailing at 37%, with a 4% margin, meaning their real range is 33% to 41%. This keeps them within striking distance, but still behind the Liberals. The New Democratic Party, NDP, is polling at 9%, with a margin of 2%, suggesting actual support between 7% and 11%. The Bloc Québécois, BQ, which only competes in Quebec, stands at 6% nationally, with a 1% margin, putting them between 5% and 7%. Lastly, the Green Party, GPC, sits at 3% with a 2% margin, meaning their true support could be as low as 1% or as high as 5%. Regional breakdown. Atlantic Canada, 32 federal districts. In Atlantic Canada, the Liberals hold a commanding lead with 56% of the vote. Given their margin of error of 7%, their actual support could be anywhere between 49% and 63%. The Conservatives are at 31% with a 6% margin, placing them between 25% and 37%. Meanwhile, the NDP is polling at 7%, but with a 3% margin, their real number could be anywhere from 4% to 10%. The Greens are at 3% with a 2% margin, meaning they could be anywhere from 1% to 5% in the region. Quebec, 78 federal districts. In Quebec, the Liberals are leading with 40%, and their 6% margin means they could be anywhere from 34% to 46%. The Bloc Québécois is at 25%, but with a 4% margin, their true range falls between 21% and 29%. This represents a downward trend for the party. The Conservatives are polling at 23%, also with a 4% margin, meaning their real support could be between 19% and 27%. The NDP sits at 6%, but with a 2% margin, their actual number could range from 4% to 8%. The Greens once again hold 3% with a 2% margin, placing them between 1% and 5%. Ontario, 122 federal districts. Ontario remains the most critical battleground, with the Liberals leading at 47%. Their 6% margin means their actual support could be anywhere from 41% to 53%. The Conservatives follow at 38%, and with their 6% margin, their real range is 32% to 44%, making the province still highly competitive. The NDP is polling at 9% with a 3% margin, meaning their support could be between 6% and 12%. Meanwhile, the Greens sit at 4% with a 2% margin, suggesting their range is between 2% and 6%. The Prairies, 28 federal districts. In the Prairie provinces, the Conservatives dominate with 49% of the vote, and their 6% margin means they could be anywhere from 43% to 55%. The Liberals are trailing at 33%, but their 5% margin means they could be anywhere from 28% to 38%. The NDP is polling at 12% with a 4% margin, putting their actual range between 8% and 16%. Alberta, 37 federal districts. As expected, Alberta remains a conservative stronghold, with the CPC polling at 56%. Their 6% margin means their real support could be anywhere between 50% and 62%. The Liberals are at 27%, but with their 5% margin, their actual range is 22% to 32%. The NDP sits at 10% with a 3% margin, meaning their true support is between 7% and 13%. British Columbia, 43 federal districts. British Columbia remains a tight race between the Liberals and the Conservatives. The Liberals currently lead with 40%, and their 6% margin places them between 34% and 46%. The Conservatives are just behind at 39%, with a 6% margin, meaning they could be anywhere from 33% to 45%. The NDP is polling at 14%, with a 4% margin, meaning their actual support is between 10% and 18%. Meanwhile, the Greens are at 5%, with a 3% margin, meaning their real number could be between 2% and 8%. Territories, 3 federal districts. In the territories, the Liberals hold a significant lead with 45% of the vote, but their 9% margin means their real support could be anywhere between 36% and 54%. The Conservatives are at 29% with an 8% margin, placing them between 21% and 37%. The NDP is at 19% with a 6% margin, meaning they could be anywhere from 13% to 25%. The Greens sit at 6% with a 4% margin, meaning they could be between 2% and 10%. As we move closer to the 2025 election, every vote will count. Will the Liberals hold their lead? Can the Conservatives make gains in Ontario and Quebec? And what role will the NDP, Bloc Québécois, and Greens play? Stay tuned for more updates. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Who do you think will win the next election? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.